Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for episode 3 of the Canadian MMA podcast. I'm Faber, Glace. Josh Saunders is with me. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Excited to break down these fights of FLA 7 and a couple other Canadians that were in action this past weekend. So, yeah, let's get into it.
For sure, man. We're here to recap all of that. There were finally some fights, but bro, first I gotta vent a little bit. We're fucking going to the Super Bowl, man. Let's fucking go. Chiefs Kingdom. People thought we were not gonna win. Fucking Bengals fans were like, man, like I like the Bengals, okay? Like in let's say the regular season and everything, it's a team I often bet on. They often win me my bets. Like I got a Joe Burrow jersey at home. That like I like the Bengals, but they were very, very, very annoying this week. Like I even saw a fucking Bengals fan at the Bell Center who was like, "Hey, who they? Who they?" I was like, "Shut the fuck up, man. We're at a hockey game." But no, man, they were annoying. They were talking a big game, Burrowhead, and all that shit. And bro, the funny thing is that no Chiefs player said nothing all week, and once one Chiefs player answered to the shit that they were saying, then all the Bengals were like, "Oh yeah, you can talk. We're just gonna play ball." And like, fuck that, you've been talking for like weeks and weeks, and like, bro, it wasn't gonna happen 4 times in a row. We're the best team in the NFL, maybe with the Eagles, which is like I don't even want to think about that matchup because it's an horrible matchup for us. But man, we're going to the Super Bowl. It was an absolute emotional roller coaster of a game, and I'm so happy, man. I'm not lying. I would have been super mad on the podcast if they had lost. Like, bro, I would have been just down and like not willing to talk about shit because man, it's just I don't know why I care about this that much, but let's fucking go, man.
I'm happy for you. I'm not nearly as invested. I watched the game. It just ended, and it was a good one. But yeah, with the help, a little bit of the help of the referees, you guys made it. So I'm happy for you. Happy that we get to do this podcast while you're in a good mood too. That's a bit of a bonus.
Yeah, for sure. The refs, man, there were some weird calls. I feel like the final call is a good one, but there were some weird calls. Like when they gave us our third down back, I didn't quite get that one. That was weird. Unfortunately, it didn't turn into. I think it didn't end up affecting the game that much since the chances we were given by the refs were like not really capitalized on. But man, damn, the Eagles are gonna be a tough one. But yeah, let's talk about some fights, bro, because we had some exciting action. Finally, some action, and I hope we liked it because it's probably gonna be the only action we get in a little while until let's say even March. But
Yeah, I think there's a Rumble in the Cage card coming up, so it's coming up in February, but that's only one until March, and that's going to be a crazy month.
yup. So Fight League Atlantic. Before we get into the nitty gritty of all that, what are your general thoughts on the event?
I thought it was a good event. It felt like a lot of good finishes, which I was anticipating, and yeah, I don't. I've got some thoughts about the fights and everything, but I thought it was a good event. Definitely the biggest main event that FLA has had so far, and it was a great one, to be honest. Both guys had some success and got a lot to talk about in that.
Yep. We got a lot of to talk about, but yes, overall, it was a great event. I always like I said, the presentation is good. The event, like these are things that I like to look into because I feel like sometimes you get fight cards with like bigger names but that don't deliver. Sometimes you get fight cards with like smaller names but that over deliver. But a thing that is constant in a promotion that can make you like rank it accordingly to other promotions or whatever, I feel like is the quality of presentation of the event. Like generally, is the event cool to look at? Because we're gonna talk about it later, but let's say the Antoine Chaput fight, like it's kind of a wacky stream. We had to change the stream 5 times to finally get one that was working and not cut enough every 5 minutes. And like sometimes the cameras were just filming the ceiling and not the fights. Like it was very rough. So Fight League Atlantic, for a young promotion, there are only 7 events in. It's good. It's a good looking event. Like the mat is good, the lighting is good, the presentation, the stream is not lagging, everything is working out well. It's quite easy to purchase if you got the link and everything. So for that, I think it's an important aspect of the event, and they always deliver in that aspect. As for the fights, bro, I think they like generally, it was one of the wildest amateur card that I've seen. Like, bro, I wouldn't want it to be an amateur fighter and get finished like some of the guys got finished last night. Like, it's very, very brutal for amateur fights. And then, yes, of course, the pro fights. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna start right now with the main event. I already know this is gonna be a separate clip because we've got some things to talk about. So let's break it down, and let's break it down moment by moment. The main event, Christien Savoie was back home, basically fighting against Dorjan Dokaj. Starts the fight off amazingly, puts Dorjan on skates immediately, is beating his ass for like a good minute and a half. Then Dorjan is able to get to him with basically just get a grip on him and clinch up. From there, he's able to kind of drag him to the ground. They have some ground exchanges. Savoie turtles up. Dokaj goes with the shots. Referee's like, oh, that's back of the head. Don't do that. Savoie is kind of looking like, it's like, oh, that wasn't back of the head, but like whatever. So they're like, okay, I'll check this out. Dokaj lands maybe one or two other shots. Referee steps in and he's like, nah, that's not working. Takes a point off. Then, oh man, it was just super weird because usually when you get an eye poke or an illegal shot or something like that, you don't get 5 minutes. 5 minutes is for the groin strike, the kick in the dick, basically. Other fouls, you get the doctor, then the doctor evaluates like, oh yeah, maybe he needs a minute, then he's going to be good to go, or like whatever the doctor assesses, that's what they do. Referee stops the shit, takes a point away, then basically stops doing anything, never calls in a doctor, and lets Christien decide when he's ready to start fighting back, which Christien just took forever, basically, and that's more power to him. The referee gave him the right. If you can wait 5 minutes until you restart fighting, especially when like he just took some major energy away in his flurries, he was really trying to finish the fight and everything. So I think he was right in his adrenaline drum probably. And bro, it's just like he took forever. They started back fighting. Absolutely lost the rest of the round. But then, like, it's still at 10-9. I feel like you can't score that round for Dorjan, that first round. Because he got knocked down, he almost got finished. So even though he dominated on the ground a lot of that round, you can't score it for him. So it's a 10-9, but it's automatically a 10-8 because he lost a point. So that's the first round. At that point, what do you got to say about that shit, man?
Yeah, it was definitely, you could really tell that Savoie emptied his tank trying to get the finish, and he was just going crazy for about a whole minute and a half, just unloading, trying to, because you could tell that Dokaj was hurt, and it was a really weird circumstance with the ref. He was very once he gave him the hard warning, and yeah, it was just weird because he right away he jumped in off of like maybe one or two very soft back of the head shots, took the point, and then Savoie was just, he spent all his energy trying to get the finish and took advantage of that 5 minutes. Like normally when you see a fighter take that long after back of the head shots, the doctor's stepping in and they're considering stopping the fight, but it was more a lack of energy rather than being in pain, I think, and that's why he took all the time. So I definitely agree with just as far as damage goes, Savoie won the round off of that, and that automatically makes it a 10-8 with the point deduction. But it was just, you could tell what was going to happen at the end of the round for the rest of the fight.
Do you agree with the point deduction?
I don't really agree, because I think that the first warning wasn't really even shouldn't have been a warning, as Savoie even recognized it wasn't a back of the head shot. Like, he was fine. So then I think the ref could have stood them up and taken away the position, but to take a point away like that it felt pretty harsh there. What did you think?
I don't know, man. It's like, in a sense, I'm like, he kind of just warned you. So I understand taking a point. Do I think the shots were to the back of the head in both instances, meaning the warning, then the point deduction? Like, I wasn't there, I can see closely, but from what I saw, I don't think they were really to the back of the head. I
And
think that because, like, as it can be quite to the back of the head, as long as it touches the ear a little bit, it's considered legal. So basically, you really gotta punch him in the middle of the back of his head for it to be like blatantly illegal. And I don't think that was the case, to be honest. I think it was in a gray area. So, like, the thing is that the referee is the one who kind of makes the rules. So if you see that the referee is like sensible to this, like his gray area is like, let's say, less big than other refs, maybe you should just try and do something else. So I don't really agree, but I can't say I disagree either. I'm really torn on that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that normally like the refs will take a point away to even the playing field, those back of the head shots I don't think had very much of an impact. So it wasn't like those shots did a whole bunch of damage to Savoie. And I can't say for sure because I wasn't the one that was receiving them, but yeah, I think there wasn't a lot to even the playing field from. It just didn't appear that they were super damageful.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as for the break, at the beginning, I feel like Savoie was trying to regain energy, but like at a point, in my opinion, it just became weird. Because I feel like Savoie was okay, and he was just kind of waiting for the refs to maybe resume the action. But the ref was really waiting for Savoie to resume the action, and Savoie was like, "Oh, if you're giving me more time, I'm gonna take it for sure, man. And I would be dumb not to." And like he did it, and like for real, like more power to him. I would have done the same without hesitation. But yeah, so very weird first round. Second round, bro, is as straightforward as you can. I don't think Christien Savoie landed one shot in that round. Dorjan basically shot a takedown 0.7 seconds into the round. Worked for it, took him down, did damage, controlled, absolutely dominated. Then third round, same thing happens. The only thing that I have to say is that Savoie was doing a better job to get up, but when he got up, Dorjan was not letting go of the body lock, and Savoie was not able to break the grip at all, so he was getting taken back down every time he was standing up. So basically another round where we got absolutely dominated, and man, with 10 seconds left, he turtles up, Dorjan unloads with some shots, referee comes in, hey, stop, takes a second point away, man. And bro, like, at that moment, to be honest, it just felt dirty to me, man. It just felt like, bro, it did, like, the hometown guy is not winning, and the referee wants him. I don't know. Like, I'm not putting in on the promotion. I know Derek was probably like livid about that shit. I know how the guy is, and like, man, it just felt dirty to me. I don't think these were shots to the back of the head. In the third round, I don't feel like it was warranted to take a point. I just feel like it was bad, man, and they were trying to take the fight away from the away guy. Basically, that's how I feel, man, straight up.
Yeah, it was that was a really terrible point deduction, that second one. It was like John Morgan did a good job of summing up, I think, everyone's emotions on the commentary. He was super confused. He couldn't believe it either, and it was just crazy, and it still shouldn't have mattered because it was all one-way traffic from the halfway and part of the first round to the end. I couldn't believe that one judge gave I know I'm jumping ahead to the judging a bit, but the fact that there were no 10-8s given to Dokaj on one scorecard was just crazy, because like Savoie didn't land a single punch the last two rounds, and credit to him in the third round, he was trying to get back up and trying to trying to make it a fight and get his chances. But every time he got up to his feet, Dorjan was just like throwing him around with these big throws from the back. It was super impressive to see, and he looked a lot bigger in there than Christien. Like, it wasn't a Christien moving up in weight for that one.
Yeah, like Christien was a middleweight, then he became a welterweight. Then that was his return fight. So yeah, it was a middleweight, but yeah, Dorjan is a big middleweight. So size difference was kind of significant in that fight.
Yeah, I didn't notice a huge difference at the weigh-ins, but I guess Dorjan put on a lot of weight after the cut, and he just looked a lot bigger than him in there. Was able to just impose his grappling game on Christien.
Yep. So I don't know if MMA Empire has the exact scores, because I know for a fact that there was a 28-27 for Savoie. Which is a criminal scorecard, bro. Like, to be honest, it's a criminal scorecard. Like,
on a scale of 1 to Powell Synagoga, what would you rate that scorecard?
Oh, that's a good 7. That's a good 7, 8. Like, it's bad, man. Because I won't go lower because they kind of have like they scored the round for the right people. It's just the way that they scored the round is awful. Because basically how you go to that fucking score is that the first round is a 10-8 for Savoie. Then you got a 10-9 for Dokaj in round 2. And then you got a 9-9 in round 3. So you get so basically it's 2-10-9s for Dokaj and 1-10-9 for Savoie. So it's 29-28 Dokaj, but he lost 2 points. So that makes it 28-27 for the other guy. That's a bad scorecard. Very bad scorecard. Then there's a guy who scored it for Dokaj. Then that's the scorecard that I'm trying to find right now. It was 28-26 for Dokaj.
So that would be then two 10-8s in there.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the way I ended up with a 27-26. I scored first round 10-8 for Christien because of the point deduction. I scored the second round 10-8 for Dorjan, and I scored the second round 9-8 for Dorjan because of the point deduction, which led to 27-28. So did the guy give the first round to Dorjan? Let's say he gives the first round to Dorjan. That gives now 28-25. Okay, I don't know how he came up with that score, bro. I won't even try to. I won't, bro. So okay, crazy scorecards. So but I think that the bottom line here is that it sucks, man. It just sucks for everybody involved, because Dorjan deserved to win that fight, and even it was just a good fight, man. A good back and forth. First guy started with the momentum, then the momentum shift, and it's an amazing performance for a young prospect. And there's so many things that we should be talking about after this main event, and we're just not, because the referee just hijacked the fight, and you never want the referee to hijack the fight. And I won't come here and say, oh, this referee is trash, because I don't know this referee. He's named Barry Gallant. And I don't know him. And to be honest, if he was that trash, I would probably have figured it out earlier in the night, because it probably wasn't his first fight of the night that he was officiating. So maybe he just had enough one on that one. Just sucks that is the main event. But bro, the ref hijacked the fight, and that sucks, because we're talking about that, and we're speaking about the fight in length during 20 minutes on a podcast, while we should just be saying that Dorjan was super impressive and that Christien started the fight well, but unfortunately for him, he has some adjustments to make, but he's still on the right way to being a very good fighter and all that. But kind of not happening, because the ref just decided that he was taking points away kind of randomly. And the crazy thing is that he takes a point away, takes the position away in the first round. They resume fighting. Dorjan shoots, gets the takedown, and Christien Savoie goes with like the brutal fence grab, but on the other side of the ref, so he never sees it. So man, it was bad, man. Yeah,
Yeah, that fence grab, I was gonna get mad at that, but I think like maybe less than a minute later, Dorjan returned the favor with one when he was trying to get him down, I think. So then I was just like, oh, whatever. They both traded fence grabs, so an eye for an eye on that one. But it really is a shame that all of our attention's going to the referee and his decision making, because it was an amazing performance from Dorjan, and it was great to see Christien back out there again. After his hiatus during everything that happened the past couple of years. So yeah, it was great to see Dorjan get that, what should have been a big win on his record, because Christien had a lot of hype on him before he took some time away, and he just looked really dominant. Like he put a relentless pace on Christien, and like always active on the ground, always chipping away and working, and just never gave him a chance to recover. You could tell that Christien was slowing down on the energy side, and it was just constant just hitting him and trying to advance position. It was super impressive to see.
No, for sure. Amazing performance, and I can't wait to see what's next for them. We're going to then move on to the co-main event, which was the other professional fight on the card, and very cool performance, in my opinion, for Cam Nelson against Braden Simon. Braden really started the fight off well, like good leg kicks, like constant pressure, was trying to really put it on his opponent. He knew that his opponent was probably the better athlete. Like in general, the guy is just looks well jumping off the bus, man. He looks like a pro fighter, which I'm not saying Braden doesn't, but like Cam is just like, he looks like a special kid, and of course, he kind of is, man. He kind of is, because yes, there were some exchanges that were not all in his favor standing, but when he was able to get on his opponent's hips and get the takedown, you could see the fight just immediately turned, and it was a quick first round finish for Cam Nelson in his pro debut. The submission at I don't remember quite well, but like maybe 2 or 3 minutes in the first round. Very nice performance. Want to see more from that guy. There's there were some gyms last night that were really well represented, and Renzo Gracie, Prince Edward Island, was one of these gyms, and it's a huge win for Cam Nelson. And I really look forward, even though Braden got finished in the first round, I really look forward to seeing both guys fight again, because Braden looked like he had some good experience striking, and that there's like some good elements that he has to build his game on.
Yeah, no, Nelson, he came in and he has no fear in the striking exchanges. You can see that in his previous fights. He just he really trusts his chin, and like you said, Braden started out very well and just like chipping away with the leg, but Nelson went like berserker mode, going for that takedown, and was just like so dominant on the ground and got that submission win. So it was super like impressive to see, and he got his career off to a good start. And afterwards, I think there was like a brawl in the crowd too. There was some fight happening in there that sort of took the attention away as the fight ended.
Yeah, I missed that, but I'm always down for a little crowd brawling. Maybe Etienne was there for the event. He fucking drove to Moncton, which is crazy because it's so far. But he just sent me some like a rough cut of the vlog he did. He had my camera and everything, so maybe we're gonna see a fight in the vlog. That would be cool. I don't know. I didn't look at it yet, so maybe I'm just speaking through my ad. But then, bro, the outside of the main event, I think the most anticipated fight of the night was by far Drake Farrell and Rory Gillis for the advanced amateur welterweight title. Drake Farrell, man, if you've been following Fight League Atlantic for a while, when they were doing submission kumites during the pandemic, it was always in these submission kumites and basically always winning them. So the guy is a grappler, a very, very good grappler. And, bro, he just came and fucked his opponent up on the feet, man, which is always cool to see. So just, bro, an amazing win for Drake Farrell. I feel like if there's few guys that I really remember their name from the beginning of Fight League Atlantic, Cam Nelson is one of them. Drake Farrell is one of them. You got Luke de Saint Croix, but like he's really one of the few guys that you really can see that he's a very, very bright prospect in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a super impressive performance. He has massive power and just like he just crumpled Gillis on the cage to win the belt. Like it was super impressive to see that. Like I said, and yeah, I think John Morgan was pretty mad at the ref there for letting him get some shots in. It didn't seem too insane. Like he was just landed at some ground and pound, and I didn't think it was too crazy. But yeah, great performance from him.
Yep, and like, to get this after like the first round was, I don't want to say sketchy for him, but like he's the one who got taken down at a point, and like it was not all easy. Rory Gillis really brung it, and it was a tough fight for everybody. But Drake was able to get through and get the win. Another win, like when I said there were gyms that were very well represented. The Tower One Combat Sports, the Gavin Tucker gym, bro. They had one hell of a night last night, and I think that was the last win that they were able to get, but they got wins all night long, man. It was a good night for them. And now let's get to the bro. I want to say the craziest moment, the scariest moment. Like I said, my buddy Etienne was there, and the fighter from Quebec, Frédéric Duprat. He was knocked out really badly in one of his fights, but it was on the TKO Fight Night event, which was like an event that if you weren't there, you weren't gonna see it basically. And like the guy said that it was gonna come out on Fight Pass someday, but it just never came out. So like you had to be there to see this event. And Duprat got knocked out on that event, and like it was really reminiscent of the Zach Young knockout that we saw. Like just brutal, man. 7 seconds, the guy kind of ducks and goes for the Johnny Hendricks overhand left and just absolutely melts Levi Nickerson. And like Levi just face plants and does not move for like 2 to 3 minutes. They gotta like bring the stretcher into the cage and everything. Like fortunately he was able to wake up and then to get up on his own and kind of walk backstage on his own. So that's very cool to see. You know, you never want to see a guy knock the fuck out so badly that he got to leave on the stretcher. But bro, that was reminiscent of the Fred Duprat knockout. The noise, the way that he just like got absolutely melted and didn't move for minutes. And then the fact that like at that TKO Fight Night there was a really funny occurrence where like I think first fight something fucked up happened. Guy got transported to the hospital, so we had to wait like 25 minutes because there needs to be an ambulance. Then second fight, the guy gets a concussion, so they bring him to the hospital, so we gotta wait again. And Yohan Lennes, it was his first pro fight that night. He made his walkout, and when he got into the cage, they told him, "You can't fight right now, bro. We don't have an ambulance," so he had to walk back. And 10 minutes later, redo his walkout for his first pro fight to finally fight. So. So then there was exactly the same ambulance problem, so they had to take another intermission. But like, bro, like it's an amazing knockout for Zach Young, but man, it's just scary to see, especially as an amateur. You don't want to get knocked out like that, man.
Yeah, that was a brutal knockout. Like right away in the fight, I couldn't believe it. He just put him down, and he was out for so long. It was pretty concerning, and the fact that we had to wait quite a while for the next fight to start kind of just let it sink in, and you couldn't just like move on and go to the next fight and forget about it. You had to. It was just still, you just kept thinking about that crazy knockout, and just hoping Nickerson was okay. So hope he's doing better today, because that was pretty nasty.
That was nasty as fuck, man. And yeah, for sure, I hope Levi is doing okay. He's one of the guys that I remembered from previous Fight League Atlantic events. So I hope he's doing well, and that we see him fight again. But if you get knocked out like that in the amateur scene and you decide that maybe you're not doing this again, like I wouldn't I wouldn't mind it too hard, to be honest. Then, bro, we got Abdelaziz, which was absolutely like fuck, man. He was good. He was very good, like all around. I know it's kind of another guy who's known as a grappler, and you could see it. Like the back takes were instantaneous. The body triangle and everything he did on the ground was very good. But the striking, man, really came a long way, and he absolutely dominated his opponent in all aspects of MMA. Very, very complete performance for him, and only his third amateur fight, man. I'm looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, it was a very great performance from Abdel. Like he was, like like you said, you could tell he's a grapple first kind of guy because he just showed great dominance there. But there were some good striking exchanges from him where he was looking pretty clean, and just an overall a great fight from him. Great performance.
Man, then the Sorensen Richardson fight. I think that was because that's the moment where I was trying to cook dinner. So I think that was the really crazy back and forth fight, right?
Yeah, no, like they got wild early in round one, and then Sorensen sort of had some success each round grappling. But at the start, Richardson was, he had success striking. Like end of round one, he ended the round really good and looked like he landed a lot on Sorensen there. And round two was just mainly a lot of grappling from Sorensen, lots of success there. He controlled the fight, and to get things going, Richardson dropped Sorensen at the start of round three. It was pretty impressive, but Sorensen recovered quick and got the takedown. And later in the round, Richardson was getting pretty desperate, trying to get up to his feet, and credit to him. Like he wasn't just trying to survive on the bottom and survive to a decision, but Sorensen took advantage of one of the transitions when Richardson was trying to get up and sunk in the choke pretty fast there. It's a good performance from him in a really exciting fight.
Yep. Then, man, if you had to ask me, like, you got to give one performance of the night for, like, the amateur portion of the card, let's say, excluding the title fight. Like, I feel like Zach Young really deserves it, but I'd be torn between him and Sam Rhino, which is like 19 years old, looks absolutely amazing, and just absolutely melted his opponent in like a minute with a switch head kick, which was like wicked. Basically, just absolutely wicked finish, man.
Yeah, that was super nasty. Like Livingston came out pretty wild. He was just trying to get things going. I think he started the fight out with some spinning wheel kick, but Reno just stayed safe, stayed composed, and didn't let any of the shots get through. And when he had his chance, he melted him with that head kick. It was nasty to see from such a young kid.
Man, and then he has the whole post fight speech. The guy looks like just so happy to be there and to be fighting, and like it's just cool to see because Derek, he's been working very hard to get the sport back on rails in Eastern Canada. It's been tough, man. For like we complained out here in Quebec and Ontario, they complained a lot too, especially during the pandemic. We were kind of the most hit provinces, and the provinces where the restrictions were the strictest. So we had a tough time, but bro, in Eastern Canada, it dates to way before the pandemic, like where they just couldn't get fights, they can find fights. It was tough to have events back there. Commissions were doing everything for the events not to happen, and it was just tough. So for him to be able to build this, and now to see just like we've got a lot of guys on these events, like the Zach Youngs and the Sam Rhinos, and the, like we're gonna speak about a few others, but like Dylan Bjornsson, Simon Plummer, Abdelaziz, Bryce Tracy, all these guys were looking super good in their fights, and it's just very encouraging to see that finally there's not only good amateur fighters, but there are fighters who are watching these fights and that's, hey, I want to try this too. And since we got a good platform to do this, it's easier for them to just make the jump and try this shit. So it's cool to see that finally MMA is getting LT in Eastern Canada. It's cool for these guys who often like feel like they're kind of left apart. Like most people think Canada ends when Quebec ends, and these guys are just like weird peoples from some islands and shit. So I'm glad for them. Then, yeah, Dylan Bjornsson was very, very dominant against Josh LeBlanc, who always comes to fight. Like, Josh LeBlanc is never going to make it easy on you, even though you're dominating him. He's going to keep trying. He's going to try to get out of the positions. He's going to try to, especially when they're on their feet, he was going to try to be aggressive, to swing wildly. And, like, he's been in the cage a lot, Josh LeBlanc. So he kind of has a good feel for the fight. And that made him dangerous until the end, because at the end he knew that he was not winning, so he was kind of going for it, like really going for it, which makes him dangerous. But Dylan, I feel like is the way that he managed all that was amazing, and in the end gave him a quite dominant win, like, in my opinion.
Yeah, they started out pretty wild in round one, but then Bjornsson got the takedown and jumped on that back quick. It was he was working that neck crank pretty hard, but LeBlanc he's a tough guy, and he didn't think about tapping even for a second. And yeah, like the rest
even
of the
ended
fight,
up on top too at the end. So
yeah, it was a tough. Like, he stayed tough and got that transition, like, ended the round there. But I think, yeah, round two, Bjornsson got that double leg and looked like it was going to be the exact same thing as round one, but he let LeBlanc back to his feet, which I was surprised to, and looked like he might have gotten hurt, but it was the same thing, and he just got the takedown.
Do you know, because I think that was 29-28 on each judge's. So which round do you think they gave to LeBlanc? Is it the second one? Is it the third one?
Yeah, I think yeah, I don't know. Round three, LeBlanc, he got a reversal and he was doing decent at the end, but I thought it was like too little too late to sort of win the round. But maybe the second, because it looked like he sort of hurt Bjornsson a bit on the feet, but that would be a pretty harsh example of favoring damage over control.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because I was kind of surprised, because I had Dylan winning the 3 rounds, to be quite honest, on that one. Then Simon Plummer, man, that was a sick finish, man. I really, really love the Kimura from half guard, the way he rolled into it and everything. That's my type of stuff. And, like, I'm dumb at jiu-jitsu. I don't tap, but if there's one submission, one type of submission, let's say, that I really don't mess around with, it's shoulder locks. It's just horrible, man. Where it just, I don't know, I'm flexible from everywhere, but not from my shoulders. So they're just very, very painful on me, and it's just like, bro, your life sucks if you can't use one of your shoulder properly. So that was a sick ass Kimura, man. Good way to set it up, and sick ass finish. And at a point, I was wanting his opponent to tap, man. I was like, bro, there's absolutely no need for that. I think it was Brendan Sutton, if I remember well. But yeah, like, bro, sick finish. And that I missed the first fight, so it really started the night off well for me with that performance from Simon Plummer.
Yeah, you know, Sutton was doing well each round until he got taken down, and then Plummer was just, you know, he had the big advantage in grappling, and he had that Kimura locked in for a long time and was pulling on that for a while, but he finally got it locked in and forced Sutton to tap. So great job by Plummer. And yeah, it started the night off for me too. It took me a while to get the pay-per-view going, and then that was the first one I saw too.
Yeah, I opened the stream and I saw Bryce Tracy speaking on the mic. So I was like, whoa, sorry, bro, I missed your fight. I think it was a first round standing guillotine.
That's what I saw, yeah.
And I don't think it took that much time. So shout outs to Bryce Tracy, man. We're going to try to be on time for your next fight, hopefully. So yeah, man, like, bro, amazing event from Fight League Atlantic. Just like, I won't even say just sad the way that it ended, because in the end we should look at the fight and not complain too much about the refereeing, since, like, in the end nobody lost. Like, if Dorjan lost, then I feel like we could have been, like, really mad and sour about the way that everything ended. But Like in the end, he didn't lose. And I know it kind of sucks because he deserved to win. But like at least he didn't get screwed to the point of losing, which would have been like very bad for. Because like, man, it's bad to say because you don't want to really say that, but record kind of does matter at that stage, and he looks way better at 3-1-1 than at 3-2 right now.
Yeah, no, it was a great showing. He definitely deserves to be 4-1 on his record right now, and props to him for not taking easy fights. He fought, he has won losses to Ryan Loder, who's a monster wrestler, I think, from Team Alpha Male over there. Yeah. And yeah, it would have been crazy if right now we were talking about how he got robbed and lost the fight. Like, that would have been insane. So very glad that didn't happen. I still am pretty upset one judge didn't give any 10-8s. I don't understand that, but still great to have that performance against a name like Christien.
Yeah, and now for sure with the 10-8s, I'm probably one of the guy who likes 10-8s the most. Like I feel like at this the very second that a round is clear, like it's dominant, that you have no question this guy won the round, I feel like you should get a 10-8, to be honest, because it's a dominant round. And I feel like people are complaining about the scoring system and how could we improve the scoring system? Should we add open scoring? Should we do this? Should we do that? But maybe we should try and use the old scoring system. It's like the 10-point must system, but that doesn't mean that it must be 10-9 or 10-8 in a really weird circumstance. Like, why couldn't it be 10-6, 10-7? Like, that way you could, like, give individual significance to rounds and make really, I feel, reflect better on the rounds. Like, let's say very close round. You don't know who won. Oh, I think this guy won, but I'm not sure. 10-9, close round. If the guy, that guy won easily, but did not come close to finishing his opponent, did not do nothing about that, but clearly won the round. Like, it's not a question, he won the round. 10-8, let's go. Then, if he's close to finishing his opponent, give him a 10-7. If he's within an inch of finishing his opponent, give him a 10-6. Yes, of course, the scores are going to look absolutely crazy. We're used to seeing 30-27 or 29-28. And when it's outside of that, we're like, oh, what's that scorecard? I don't like it. But like, I feel like we could get used to these crazy ass scores if they reflected on the rounds better. So like, I know that will never happen, but that's kind of the way I see how scoring should work in MMA. Like, you got a whole ass system. You might just as well use it, not just taking like the, I don't know, man. It's weird. It's just.
Yeah. I think the judges need a lot more options to score the fights rather than just 10-9 or 10-8, because there's such a big difference in between rounds at some points, and to score it between one 10-9 is a razor close round, and then another 10-9 can be where one guy had success the whole round but didn't come close to finishing the fight. And those are two very different things that you're looking at, but they're scored the exact same.
Yeah, they're worth the same at the end, and that shouldn't be the case. Like, my best example for this scoring criteria is GSP Johnny Hendricks. Like, no way all these rounds are 10-9s. Like, no way, bro. There's some rounds that, yes, GSP wins these rounds, but he wins them by, like, the skin of his teeth. And the rounds that Johnny Hendricks is winning is just, like, bro, tossing him around, elbowing him in the face, like, fucking him up badly. So, they're like, how can these rounds be scored the same when they're just not the same way if you look at the fight? But, yeah, that's a whole nother debate. But let's move on to another very bad decision. Because last night, Antoine Chaput, the one and only Antoine Chaput, who fought basically 9 times in 2022, was making his pro debut for a promotion named Savage Fights Promotion. And it was in Mississippi. It was a very, very obscure event with a Facebook live stream, which was of mediocre quality, and that's being very kind. But yeah, Antoine was fighting there against a guy named Nakia Brown, which they were both making their pro debuts, 155 pounds. Antoine's opponent was way bigger than him, like way bigger, way lankier than him. It took Antoine a full round basically to get adjusted to what his opponent was bringing. First round, he basically was standing at range and not getting it with anything significant or nothing, just getting it and not lending much in return. But man, when he got going, you could just see that the kid is very, very good. The body work in that fight was amazing. Like the body punches were cool, but the body punches were used to set up the body kicks. He had the switch kick to the liver, which was good. He had the spinning kicks to the body, which were really good too. And he really got going in the second round, was able to drop his opponent. And when I say drop him, it's not just like because there was one point in round one where Antoine kind of got hit with a shot, but was also trying to throw in the return. And clearly he kind of slipped and fell down to the mat. And there was like a brief exchange and they got back up. But like in the second round, Antoine just clubbed the guy. The guy took a knee, but took a knee while turning his back to Antoine. So that was like a real knockdown. Like there was no slips there. The guy just got hit and fell down. So very, very dominant second round for Antoine. And third round comes out strong, keeps doing his thing. And I feel like his opponent kind of woke up in the final minute of round 3, was like, oh shit, I got to do something. And really came out strong in the final minute of the final round. And that gave him the decision. Basically, they give the decision to the American guy. And like, it's another case of like, yes, maybe he came out strong in the final end of the round. And like, basically I fell asleep for that fight because it was just after an intermission, and my eye ass can't survive intermissions. When I'm at home, it's just the perfect moment for me to get on my cell phone and just fall asleep. But when I woke up the day after, everybody in the group chat, like Greg, Max, everybody there watched the fight, like they were, when the fight ended, they were like, yeah, Antoine won and he's not winning the decision. Basically, that was the assessment. So I don't feel like nobody was surprised that he did not win the decision, but that doesn't mean it was a good decision at all, because when you dominate and like sometimes there's like the distinction, yeah, the guy won 2 minutes of the round, but the other guy won like a minute and a half or something, but he did way more damage like during that minute than the guy during his 2 minutes and something. So yeah, you kind of score it for the guy who did the more damage then, even though he won less time in the round. But that wasn't the case here. Antoine did some damage, won 3 minutes of that round, even 4 minutes of that round easily. Then, yes, maybe lost the final minute, but there's no way that they should have scored this round for the American fighter here, man.
Yeah, that was a despicable decision, like just crazy. That third round, Brown had like one moment, I think, when he caught a kick or something and it went to the ground in near the last minute of the third. And then he got one good punch in the last 10 seconds, but the first 4 minutes of the third was just one-way traffic from Antoine, and he was just doing his thing. He landed a really good spinning wheel kick that just like grazed the top of the head and had him stumbling a bit, and that was more impactful than that punch in the last 10 seconds. And looked like the judges were just doing everything they could to score it for Brown, because first round, Brown came out very strong. He was like putting on the pressure early, and there was a moment near the end of the first where you could kind of tell Antoine like found his range, found his distance, and just took over from there with the kicks. Once he got the kicks involved, he seemed to really take control of the fight, and that second round was just all Antoine. It was super impressive to watch him just like effortlessly throw those kicks up and just touching him with them, and then land a super hard liver kick. And I was very impressed. It was my first time seeing him fight, because I wasn't aware of him being out as I'm on the West Coast, but I was super glad I got to see that, and excited to see him again, because tough split decision loss.
Yeah, but to To be honest, I spoke with his coach, Sifu Marc. He's not happy at all. Like, very not happy about the decision. But I feel like he's taking it worse than Antoine. Like, I feel like Antoine kind of knew what he was getting into. Like, bro, he was getting out in middle of buttfuck nowhere, Mississippi, to fight a guy from not from there per se, because he was from Louisiana. But yeah, it's close, man. And he's the American fighting the guy from Montreal. He was a fucking French speaker who has like nothing to do over there. So I think Antoine kind of knew that like if he wasn't gonna finish that fight, it was gonna be tough to win the decision. And like he just did so good in a fight that was strictly striking. And yes, Antoine is a very good striker, but as we've seen back in Quebec on his amateur career, the guy can wrestle, the guy can grapple. He's got some fight by submissions. I even think, like, I won't say that because he's so new to the game, but I even think that at this very point, he's maybe even a better grappler than striker. So to see him just compete so well against a good opponent in a strictly striking matchup, when you know that there's these other aspects to his game that you know that they're there, but you haven't seen them yet on the pro scene, like it's just very exciting. And I think, yes, of course, he's not happy about the result, but everybody with like a sane mind can say that, yeah, I probably won that fight. And even though it's not the official score on the scorecards, like, bro, there's a lot of things that he did in that fight that are good and that you gotta look forward to and build on that in the future. So I feel like it's good experience. It's almost like a continuation of his amateur career in the sense that he went out there, did a full 15 minutes with a good guy and got some more experience. And like that's a very, very Mick Fall way to lose your first pro fight, man. Like, to be honest, that's very Mick Fall-esque in the way to just lose. So yeah, good shit, Antoine. And March 11th, Savoie MMA. Let's go. Finally, Katie Saull. I wanted to talk about Katie Saull a little bit because, like I said last week, she was the first Canadian fighter to actually fight. At that point, I didn't have the time to watch the fight. I didn't even know that it was available on YouTube, but it was. And man, I watched it, and like, I don't know if I like the open scoring, man. But like, it's just, I think Katie kind of won the first round, bro, to be honest. And then you see the scorecards and she lost, and you're like, what? So you can just be baffled earlier instead of just being what the fuck at the end. You can be what the fuck in the middle of the fight, I guess. But no, she did good. She had a good armbar attempt in round 3, if I remember. She did some good stuff on the feet. I just feel like she was a little too technical, which shouldn't be bad, but she was really trying to place the perfect strike. There was a lot of two girls at range trying to, oh, I'm going to throw one big strike, then you're going to throw one big strike back at me, and then I'm going to throw another big strike at you. And Katie wasn't doing bad in these exchanges, but I feel like she was the less powerful fighter. So it was kind of tough for the judges to give her the win in the exchanges when it just looked like when her opponent was landing, she was landing with more powers, and then her opponent was able to also mix in some takedowns, which really helped in the scoring in that fight. So unfortunately, Katie wasn't able to get the job done. But it was a really good opponent. I think she was like 13-6, something like that. So an extensive record. And man, she'll be back. I'm sure about it.
Yeah, I thought she looked really good in that fight. Like, she was fighting very long and controlling the distance well. And like you said, they were sort of picking their shots and sort of trading one for one. And I thought it was pretty clear in the stand-up for most of it that Saull was landing the cleaner and more crisp, powerful shot, and maybe not like thrown as powerful, but when it landed and connected, you could see it had more of an impact. And it was conventional versus southpaw, so that body kick was open for Katie. So she was landing that a lot and landing that good like liver shot. But yeah, that second round, she really looked like she was opening up quite a bit, like not opening up a ton more, but looked like she was really clearly winning the round until she had that moment where she slipped and she gave up a bit of time on her back and then got dropped to end that round, which sort of sucked because I thought she was going to win the round and go up 2-1 on one of the, or 2-0 on one of the judges' scorecards. But yeah, just those grappling moments. I think her opponent might have been a bit stronger than her, and she had that close armbar attempt, like you said, in the third round, which looked really close. It was, she like threw that up in the transition super fast, but ref stood them up near the end of the third round because her opponent landed that like clean back of the head shot, and Katie pressured well. She looked like she was she finished strong, but there just wasn't enough time after giving up all that control. But yeah,
it was a good effort, to be honest. I don't think she of course, like Antoine and like all the others who are gonna lose some fights, they're not gonna be happy about the result. But like, it's not like she got in there and just got her ass whipped. She was competitive in every round of that fight, and like, it was just not enough that night. But man, it's kind of sucks for her because she had a losing record, then kind of got on the streak, and she was able to even her record back up. But now she kind of falls back to 5-6. But like, I'm not really worried about her. She's training at a good camp. She's got Brad Katona, her boyfriend, in her corner and everything. So man, I feel like everything is gonna be all right for her, and she's always a fun fighter to watch fight. So props to Katie. And then I just want to touch briefly on two UFC news, if we can. I want to get your opinion. First one on the UFC 287 announcements. What are your feeling on especially main and co-main, but on the fights that were announced this week?
Yeah, so let's see. We got that main event is the rematch between Izzy and Pereira. The co-main, what did they say that was again?
It's Gaethje and Fiziev.
Oh, I thought that was for 286.
Yeah,
for London.
Is it? No, 287. It's no, fuck it, it's Masvidal Burns. Masvidal Burns.
Yeah, I think it's and we've also got Holland and
Ponzinibbio, Gastelum against Curtis, Font against Ricky Simone, and I think there's another real good one there.
Or it's Font versus Yanez, and then Simone versus Yadong, I think.
Oh,
so
Font Yanez, that's true. And what is the other one that I was like? Oh yeah, it's the young Raul Rosas against Christian Rodriguez.
Yeah, is Bo Nickel on that one too?
Cynthia Calvillo against Lupi.
Oh yeah. Let's go Lupi. But yeah, that's gonna be a great one, I think. Good amount of time for Izzy to be away. I think like 6 months is pretty good because it wasn't a brutal stoppage loss, and I think as long as Pereira has a good weight cut, I think he should sweep Izzy in the quad. That's the fourth one, right? Yeah, fourth fight that they faced each other. I'm gonna go with Pereira as long as he has a good weight cut. And Burns and Masvidal, I'm happy Burns. He was trying to get this fight, like really trying to get it before the Magny card, and eventually just said, "Screw it, I'll take whoever. I want to fight in Brazil." So I like Burns to win this one. If he's smart, he's going to do the same thing he did against Magny, just get the takedown. I think Font and Yanez, I see a lot of people on the Yanez side with the hype. I'm a big fan of him, but I'm a bit concerned with this fight because Font has really slick boxing too. You saw him piecing up Chito Vera pretty nice the first couple rounds, but just couldn't take the shots. And yeah, gonna be a really good event. I'm excited for it. Gastelum and Curtis too. It's a good one. Curtis is getting some good fights. I'm not sure who's gonna get that. And then Holland and Ponzinibbio. Morono was schooling Ponzinibbio until he got his jaw busted across the other side of his face. So I think Holland's gonna get that fight. I'm excited for that one. That's going to be super entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. I got my worries about the main event, man, to be honest. Because it's just, I'm torn. Because let's say we go strictly in MMA. We talk only about MMA. Izzy has never lost at middleweight. Was a dominant champion. Pereira came in, took the belt, but like Izzy, like I said, never lost at middleweight, so kind of deserves the automatic rematch. So I guess that makes sense if you look at it in that perspective. If you look at it in the perspective that they already fought 3 times and it's 3-0 for the other guy, it's like, how many times you're gonna keep doing this fight until Izzy just wins? And to be honest, I'm pretty confident Izzy wins that one because he basically won every fight that they had. He just got knocked out every time, and like it's just, bro, what are the probabilities that it just happens again? It would be crazy, man. Like at a point, it's just if you do this fight 10 times, both are gonna win at some point, especially since like the guy who always loses kind of the guy who always wins until he loses. So like there's one of these fights where he's not gonna get knocked out, and like it's gotta happen soon, man. It's the fourth one. So yes, I'm like there's a part of me who's like, yeah, he kind of deserves it. I understand. There's another part of me who kind of don't want to see it because I feel like Izzy's about to win, and if he wins, are we getting into a 5 or 6 or 7 fight series of these guys? Because like I don't hate it; they're the two best fighters in the division, but like I'm kind of getting sick of rematches, man.
Yeah, we just got finished with Figueiredo Moreno, and we might be, unless Pereira can get this win, we might be
Yes,
looking at
and like
another.
we're getting the Izzy Usman one too. We got plenty rematches last year too. We were supposed to get the Yuri Glover rematch. Like that's hella rematches. Like I know there some divisions are kind of stale and it's tough to find new contenders and everything, but like man, and to be honest, I really want to see Pereira at 205 fight Jamal Hill and or Yuri and or all of these guys. I feel like the division is trash and they need a good fighter who's a weight bully and it's probably dying to make 185. So I feel like I want to see Pereira at 205 and I want to see him away from Izzy, not because I want Izzy to win. I do not want Izzy to win at all. He's one of the fighters I like his style the less, let's say. But yeah, no, I'm scared a little bit about that one. I don't want to get into a 7-part series of Izzy Pereira for real. Like that could be bad, but no, amazing event in general is gonna be a good one. Co-main, I got my reserves too. Like Gilbert had very good fight IQ in his last fight, but it's not the case usually. Like I don't want to say he's dumb, but like he can go out and try to put it on a show for the fans. He's not the guy who's always gonna go there with the game plan written to the exact second. And like if I don't do this, I like sometimes he just go out there and wants to fight and wants to have some fun and like he should absolutely destroy Masvidal, but if he goes out there and tries to have some fun and strike with Masvidal, that's the way you just get knocked out by Masvidal. So, like, there's a part of me who says that could be a scary-ish matchup, even though I have no faith whatsoever in Jorge Masvidal. If Burns just goes out there and say, "Oh, let's have some fun," and like I'm not scared about that guy, so I'll just strike with him for the whole fight. This may not be ending well, to be honest.
Yeah, and yeah, he's got some very questionable fight IQ moments, like knocking down Kamaru Usman like once or twice right away, and then laying on his back and eating leg kicks for the rest of the first round. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's the tough one. And finally, bro, I just want like quick comments on an all-time week for Conor McGregor, like all-time stuff. Starts off the week almost threatening to drown one of his old school, high school friends after basically like it wasn't written in the article, but basically they did cocaine all night. They drank a lot of alcohol, and when the sun came up, Connor became an animal, probably an animal who didn't have cocaine anymore. So he threatened to kill everybody, and the poor girl had to flee the fucking yacht by throwing herself in the ocean and basically got rescued by Coast Guard and everything. So that's kind of crazy. I also heard an article that she got her car burned down this week because she accused McGregor of stuff, which is probably why McGregor gets accused of stuff and never gets locked up or anything, is because he's kind of known to be hanging around like the exact guys that the Furies can't come to the US because of. Like I think it's a cartel or whatever back there, but like they're pretty bad guys, and I feel like people don't want to go to the police to accuse McGregor of anything because they might just get killed. And McGregor basically can drop 100K to make anybody disappear, and it does not matter because he's rich as fuck. And yeah, so that's pretty much all bad, to be honest. But like, it's all bad, but in another way, it's just like one of the other things that you can add to the list of things that Conor might or might not have done. And like, I think we're kind of numb to this at this point. And the proof of that is that 1 or 2 days later, everybody's freaking the fuck out because maybe Conor is going to coach tough against Tony or Michael Chandler, which is like by far the last thing I want to see, to be honest. Like, The Ultimate Fighter is washed. It's the same fucking show I've been watching since 2005. Like, even if you put Conor on there, I will not watch. I am not interested in watching that show, but somehow it got people hyped up, and everybody was forgetting about the way that he almost tried to kill one of his high school friends. And then, in the most fucking bizarre situation, plot twist, or whatever you're gonna call that, the guy just gets fucking hit by a car, man. And that's not the most hilarious thing. The most hilarious thing is that he's got one of his best friends with him, and they do drugs, and he fucking turns into an animal who wants to kill everybody. But like a week later, he gets hit by a fucking car and becomes best friend with the guy, and he takes a lift from him, and he's there filming himself in the fucking guy's car, and that fucker just hit me, but it's all good, and he's all friendly, Conor. And also, basically, you can hit him with a car while he's biking, and he's gonna be okay with it, but like, don't do cocaine with him all night because he's probably gonna try to kill you in the morning.
Yeah, what a roller coaster of a week from McGregor. That was crazy to start out with all those allegations about threatening to drown someone and all that stuff. I don't even know what to believe in that story, who to believe in, everything. And that convenient timing of the Ultimate Fighter rumors to break get everyone's attention onto that instead. And I don't know. I know you are you feel strongly about the Ultimate Fighter, but I love the Ultimate Fighter, man. If you get if there's good coaches and good talent, like sadly we didn't really have either of those last season.
There's not gonna be good talent, man. Like,
no,
bro,
yeah,
any decent fighter gets an offer from Tough, and he's like, bro, miss me with that shit. Call me for the contenders, man.
Yeah, because there's nowadays compared to when they first started the Ultimate Fighter, there's so many options and outlets for these young fighters to go to. All of these feeder promotions that are like shown on Fight Pass, to where they can get good exposure, and then instead of going into the house and having to randomly fight on a week's notice for 3 months, you can just get a call in the Contender Series, get one fight, and then get signed. And it's like the rewards for the Ultimate Fighter, they haven't gotten bigger as the contracts have gotten bigger in the UFC and everything. It's still a 6-figure contract, but you have to earn that six figures.
8 to 10 fights, which is like 10K a fight. It's even cheaper than cheap labor.
Yeah, like I feel like some of these guys from Contender Series are getting better deals than the Ultimate Fighter winners or guys that go far. So it's really a dead career option now, but with some of those older seasons, I love watching those. I'm a big Ultimate Fighter fan.
Like, bro, for sure, it's the show that saved the sport and everything. But it's just like, when I got into MMA, I of course I rewatched the OG Ultimate Fighter seasons and everything, and like, man, fuck, like season. I think the last season I really liked was the comeback season, like the one with Kimbo and Roy Nelson and Brendan Schaub and all these motherfuckers. That was a cool season. I don't even remember the ones just before that, and I think that was like, is it 10?
That was season 10, yeah, with Rampage and Rashad Evans. Yeah.
So yeah, basically like back then it was okay, but then man, it just got like super washed.
Yeah,
Like super washed super quick, and it's the same show, it's the same thing. It's like even like the cheesiest of cheesy reality TV shows when they run for like 20 years, they tweak some things here and there. Like it's not, if you watch same reality show 20 years ago and you watch them today, like there's some stuff that has changed, and like it's different. Like tough has not changed, it's the same bullshit. Like it's like, oh, there's some guys, oh, they're gonna fight to get into the house. Oh, like now they're picking the teams, and then wow, they're into the house, and like, oh, this guy's eating and this guy's drinking alcohol. Oh, alcohol bad, man. Now, oh, they're drunk, they're fighting, bro. What the fuck? And then there's a fucker who does not make weight, and then he gets kicked by Dana, who pretends to be super pissed. And then like, bro, they're fighting and whatever, and then the coaches are doing a stupid challenge, and then one's super mad because he lost. So now there's a big rivalry or whatever, and then like it's the finals and nobody gives a fuck basically. So
yeah, but when you get when there's McGregor on the show, man, it makes it
yeah, no,
it's
for
worthwhile
sure
with McGregor. He's
for
those
sure.
moments with with Faber and all of them. Like I don't know, I know him and Tony would be. I can already imagine some of the things they would say to each other, and it would be great up until the fight happened in that one. I wouldn't be so excited for Chandler McGregor though, because I think Chandler would just be try to be a role model and be a good standout citizen that he is, good leader guy, role model. But
With the super corny motivation pep talks and shit.
yeah, just pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep going. But yeah, I want the Tony one.
The Tony one, but not the Tony fight. Can it
No.
be McGregor and Tony? Then he fights Chandler. Like I
please.
take that. Give me
But
the Tony bullshit, then the Chandler fight.
But just pay Tony like he got the fight, because I just want to see Tony get the big payday, so he's set.
Yeah, for sure. I know, of course, man.
But yeah, anyways, crazy week for McGregor. Yeah, that whole Ultimate Fighter stuff came up at a good moment for him to get the heat off of him, and then the whole someone hit him in the car. The memes have been pretty funny as a result of that. Like Nate Diaz just hit some Irish dude, and the Habib ones as well that are funny. But yeah, it was got to see nice McGregor, not super angry. He had his emotions controlled, and props to him.
Yeah, man. But to be honest, it's just kind of sad where it's went, because like to see him, like, bro, it just reeks of drug abuse, man. It's just because like sadly I know people who have been like in like big cocaine addiction and all that shit, and bro, it's exactly that. Like there's some good people and everything, but once they get very fucked up for a night, like the day after, it just like they're unpredictable. They can act up and for no reason and everything. So it's kind of sad to see, man, because it's like, to be honest, that may be a controversial take, but I wouldn't put McGregor in my top 50 greatest fighters of all time. But he's the number one most influential fighter of all time. Like by far, he's the biggest star the sport has ever seen and everything. So to see him like just, bro, that poor guy is lost, man. He has no control over his shit. It's very bad, and we get these glimpses of story here and there that are not like cool to hear, but it's like, man, someday it's just gonna end badly, man. It never ends. Like drug addiction, it just never ends good for nobody, except you get clean and you get help. That's the only way it ends well. And sometimes there has to be some really, really tragic shit that happens for this to happen. And even the tragic shit can just put you like way further back into your addiction than it's so. It's kind of sad. Like there, yes, we can see that and make fun of it and everything, but when you really take the time to think about it, it's sad, man. It's just big. It's the most influential guy in the history of the sport, and he's lost his way, man. He's just wandering in there, and like it's tough not to lose your way. The guy is drowning in money, basically. There's nothing he can do. There's nothing he can buy. He can pretty much buy anybody. He's probably like one of the most powerful person in Ireland, basically. So man, it's kind of bad, man. But like MMA has that way to just make us sad all the time, man.
Yeah, it's the headlines a lot of the time aren't good ones that fighters are catching, and I hope that he can get his stuff together, because you obviously never want to look down at your phone and see a big headline from McGregor doing something super controversial or super bad or harming himself with what he does. So hopefully, like none of that stuff is a result from any of this, and he can get himself cleaned up.
Let's hope, man. So I think we'll conclude for this week, because
good luck to Kyle Nelson against Doohoo Choi,
yes,
the super boy.
Yes, for sure, man. The monster. And we're gonna talk about this fight extensively next week, I believe, because it's gonna be one of our main topics. Unless somebody acts up pretty badly, I think it's gonna be a slower week. Maybe we could look for a guest or something like that. But that'll be it for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Josh, for being there as usual. Big shout out to Fight League Atlantic once again. Great event. Always very pleasant to be here and cover Canadian MMA for you guys. So thanks everybody, and see you next.